Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. What's new? We're going to go over what's new in KNIME Analytics Platform and KNIME Server in the latest release. I'd like to give a few minutes or seconds to for people to join. So while you're joining, what I would like you to do is to let us know where you're joining us from, whether the city or the country where you're at. If you can go into the chat, you should be able to type on the chat and let us know where you're dialing from. Scott and I are in Austin, Texas, and we are joining from the United States. It's 6:30 this morning, bright and early, and we're really excited about showing you what's new in KNIME in this latest release. So take a moment and write down where you're joining us from. We always like to see different countries, and sometimes people join us from even the Latin America, even if it's early in the morning. But and then we'll go ahead and start. Excellent. I see some people writing. Let me take a quick look. Okay, Netherlands, Croatia, Japan, India, Italy, Germany, the UK. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. Like I mentioned, we're going to go over what's new. And this latest release, with me, I have Scott Fincher. He is part of our evangelism and learning team. He's a data scientist, and you may have seen him if you've taken some of the online training. And he also does a lot of webinars, so he's probably a familiar face to you. And my name is Cynthia Padilla. I'm in the customer care team. Again, let's get started. And we're going to go over a few things to let you know. All of you are muted, so you won't be able to ask questions, voice questions, but we do want your questions and your feedback. Also, if there's a feature you like a lot, let us know. Please use the Q&A section. So you should be seeing on your screen a Q&A. We'll be monitoring it, and at the end of the session, Scott and I are going to go over those questions. If we don't cover all the questions, there'll be a section in the forum where we can post the questions and answers, so you can follow up there and see what the answer is. You can always contact us if you have additional questions. So let's go ahead and get started. And the agenda today, there's two sections of the agenda. We're going to divide it between the new features of the KNIME users and the new features on the enterprise. I'm going to go over the first section, and Scott will help me cover the second portion. The KNIME features for the user, we have added a lot of new features and enhancements, to the hub. We added new connectivity, integration with TensorFlow, and performance and UI improvements. So we'll go over all of those. So let's start with the KNIME Hub. A KNIME Hub is a place that you probably have seen. If you're new to KNIME, KNIME Hub is a place where you can find notes, components, example workflows. You can also share components or examples that you have created. It's a great place to get started to learn about KNIME. If you don't know, how do you build a workflow or your first workflow, you can download a workflow on your laptop. It has data, so you can run it and maybe tweak it around to fit your data within that workflow. So in this release, we added a new profile user page where you can find your own space, statistics, things that you have uploaded and extensions you have shared. But let me show you a brief demo just so you can see what's new. I think that'll be easier than to show you with slides. And I'm going to start with the KNIME Analytics Platform. So you should be seeing the KNIME Analytics Platform on your screen, and you can connect to the hub just by double-clicking. You'll be logged in, and you do have to create a user on our community page. If you don't have a user, you can go and register. So you have a user ID and password, so you can log in the hub and you can create your spaces and see your statistics. So right here within the KNIME Analytics Platform, I'm connected. I have two spaces. I have one public space and a private space. And you can identify a private one by the log that you see on the screen. You can add new, well, you can open it. You can add new spaces. You can create a new space. You can set it to private or public. I can type the name. So project demos, and this may be my demos that I have. So you can call it whatever you want. Again, you can set it to public or private. Click OK and or cancel. You can have, in this case, I have one called examples. You can now easily drag and drop from your local workspace to the either public or private spaces. So it's really easy to share the content. Now, when you drag and drop a workflow into a public space, we're going to warn you. We're going to ask you if this is what you want to do, just to make sure that you're sharing to the public, which everybody, all the community will be able to see. If that's the case, continue. Otherwise, you can cancel and not publish that into the public space. You can also rename space. So I can go and rename it if there's a name that I want to change more, something more meaningful. And then you can also open from here. You can go and open the KNIME Hub. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to send me to the KNIME Hub. Again, I can search for workflows. I can take a look of what components have been added. Right now, I'm going to sign in. So I can click sign in. That's going to sign in. And I currently don't have anything on my public space. So it's going to give me a short tutorial on how I can add components or workflows into my space. So this is a nice way to get you started if you haven't done this before. I'm going to click on my user. And now I can see my profile. So I can see my name. I can look an overview of what I have published, whether it's workflows, components, or extensions. I can look into spaces. So I have nothing in public. I have one in examples. I can download it, so you'll see a list of all the workflows you have shared. And let me show you one where one user that does have extensions. So I can go to Redfield, and they have, for example, they have added Neo4j extensions. You can click on that. And then you can drag and drop those extensions into KNIME Analytics Platform to install them. So really easy, again, to add new functionality and start playing with the new features that KNIME has. So I'm going to go back to my user, and you can click in Profile, Spaces, or Log Out. And again, this is, spaces are very useful because they're the first steps of organizing your work into projects. And this is something that our customers, you have asked a lot, where you want to have the ability to section your work into projects. And, we're moving into that. So we'll be adding more and more features to KNIME Hub to help you organize your work. Excellent. So let's go back to the presentation and continue with the additional features that we added for the KNIME user. So new connectivity. We have new connectors to key applications to quickly help you connect to your data and turn it into actionable reports or analytics. We have added a connector to Salesforce. So as you can see here, we have a Salesforce node that you can authenticate via OAuth, so single sign-on, or you can pass in your credentials and quickly connect to Salesforce, and then query your data. You want to look at the opportunities for a certain account. You can query on that, create reports, or again, and analyze the data. Next, we added a SharePoint connector to SharePoint Online connector. Again, very easy to connect via OAuth or using your credentials. Once you're connecting, you'll be able to see the documents that you have access to, and then extract them to do additional analytics. We have partnered with Theobald Software, which is one of the experts on SAP integration, to develop a KNIME node for SAP systems. So now if you have been connected to SAP HANA and maybe using JDBC driver, you can now use the SAP Reader functionality that will allow you to connect to SAP HANA. The SAP Reader node connects to the commercial Theobald Extract Universal Server to extract data from SAP. And we have additional information about this on our website. Next, Amazon DynamoDB. So this extension comes with several functionality for you to seamlessly access and manipulate your data in tables within Amazon DynamoDB. As you can tell here, there are several functionality we added, like create table, DynamoDB query, batch get. So if you have data in S3, for example, you want to push that data into DynamoDB to do lookups or have high scalability, low latency for your critical applications for example, e-commerce or advertising. You have now the nodes that you need to do these. Very few desktop tools work with DynamoDB, and KNIME now gives you this capability for you to easily create workflows within our UI. Okay, moving on to file handling capabilities. We have a first set of nodes in the file handling framework to make it easy for you to work with files within KNIME, whether your data is in your local system, on the server, on a shared drive, or on the cloud. We try to make this easier for you. We have, for example, this CSV writer node. You can go and take a look at it. You can read when you connect to the file system. Now you have different options, like connecting to the man point, relative path, and so we'll help you build that path. And so now you don't have to remember the syntax for how to connect to the man point. I usually had to go look it up, make sure I had the right syntax. Now we're helping you with that. So now we have also revamped the connector, so the writer and reader nodes, to be compatible with different systems, such as SharePoint. We improved usability for like file previewing and looking at multiple files in directories. So again, a great addition. Now, even more options for deep learning. So you use deep learning and TensorFlow. TensorFlow released version 2.0 in September 2019. And now KNIME has support for this version. So enables you to use TensorFlow 2 and Python packages for dedicated nodes, such as Deep Learning Network Creator, the Network Writer, Network Executor, and Network Reader. Making it easier for you to do development. And this is a feature that a lot of our customers have been asking because of the new version of TensorFlow. Moving on, now we're going to go into performance improvements. We have made a lot of performance work, so your workflows can work faster and give you results faster. So if you're using Python nodes, you may have seen some delay if you had several nodes on a workflow. Now we have changed what you see here with the Python scripting, the deep learning Python network, Keras, and MDF. What we're doing now, we're initializing and maintaining a pool of Python processes in the background to be used by individual Python nodes. So you don't have, every time you run a node, it doesn't have to reinitialize. And for those employing Anaconda or Miniconda Python distributions, KNIME now invokes Python directly without the delay of first running a configuration script. So you should see improvements on your current workflows with Python. Moving on, more performance improvements. We have the simple file reader. And as you recall, we have a file reader. Now, the simple file reader has less options to provide additional performance. Very similar to use as the file reader. Internally, within our testing and our sample files, we've seen on average 3 times faster than the generic file reader. You may see something different depending on your files, your environment, but you should see an improvement. On the joiner node, we have a joiner. Now we have a new joiner, new capabilities on the joiner node where you have now the results of the unmatched join. So you still have, you can join your records, you get the results of the join, but now you also get the left unmatched and the right unmatched. A lot of our customers, again, you're asking for these capabilities because you want to know what was not on the join. And you may want to use this data to analyze it for data quality, or if something was missing the join that you thought it was supposed to be on the join. We also have other features that we have added for configurations for performance, and doing different merging columns with the joiner. So take a look at those. They're great additions. Okay, now moving from performance to new UI UX improvements or nodes. First, we have a new functionality we added. It's the table difference finder. This node allows you to compare two tables by means of their values or the table specs. You get two results. On the first port, you get the table with all the different entries. And then on the second one, you get the table containing a row for each unique column. We also provide different ways to fail on this node. So it doesn't have to fail even if there's table differences or data differences. You can also fail when there's only table difference or different values. So again, this is, I think, really useful if you have maybe rewritten a workflow. You want to make sure that your data is still the output that you have created is the same as before. Moving on, with new nodes, we have the string manipulation multi-column. And as the name says, now you can use this one with multiple columns. And this is similar to the math formula multi-column. If you've used that one, you can select multiple columns for the string manipulation. So this can be used, for example, for search and replace, compare, or concatenate strings with multiple columns at once. Moving on UI, now these are improvements. We already had these nodes, the column appender, the merge variables, but now we're giving you the ability to add input ports. So if you see the ellipsis on the node and the three dots, you can click on that and you'll get the ability to add an input port or remove an input port. What is this nice? Well, less nodes on your workflow, right? If you are capturing data from a user, maybe from the web portal, and you have these several variables that then you have to merge to do a login into an application, you can add more ports and capture the different variables that are coming in from the user and only use one merge variable. So again, really improving usability and less nodes for your workflow. Next, Tableau and PowerBI. Again, these are existing nodes and functionality that we have. With Tableau, what we've done, we made it easier to install and configure. So you should see that difference. And with PowerBI, we have added additional feedback on the configuration window to let you know when you are using a data set that is a data set that is going to be accepted by PowerBI. And these are called push data sets. And we also give you a little message here saying only push data sets are being displayed. So what you should be seeing on your list is only push data sets, which is the kind of data sets that PowerBI accepts. And this way, you don't get errors downstream. On the R side, we have allowed you now to set the environment or the default path to the R home. So currently you set that on the preferences and on the file preferences for the entire environment. Now you can go to the R nodes, and on the advanced tab, you can change and override the path to the R home, so you can work with different versions that your team is using. And finally, we've added improvements for the database nodes, and we made various changes and improvements. One is we added bulk copy support for Microsoft SQL Server. Again, I have a lot of customers that have Microsoft SQL Server. They've been wanting to add a lot of records or do bulk copy, and now the DB loader allows for that using the Microsoft SQL connector. Also, for the DB row filter, we have added support for Boolean data type, so you can use that now. And then one addition that I really like, I think I've seen these and my customers have seen these, You can open some of the DB nodes. We added this functionality. You can open the configuration tab without having to have a live connection to the database. So if you need to see what would be the settings you need to provide or need to look at something on the node, you don't have to have a live connection. And again, this is great. I've done it before, so I think it's a good addition. Great, so that was the features for the KNIME user. Now Scott is going to help me with the features for the enterprise.